What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to the Nonstop review. I'm your host, as always, Devon, and joining me equally as always is Rick.
Hello, everyone.
Those of you familiar with this version of the show know we don't like to mince words, we like to jump straight in. However, today all we're going to be doing is mincing words, because we're looking back at Season 5 as a whole, and potentially into the future. Yes, pun intended.
Yes. So, I think we always knew there was going to be something more. I think the movie had already been announced at this point, but this was very definitely the final season of Steven Universe as we knew it.
Well, as far as I'm aware, future's set 2 years in the future, because Steven's contemplating going off to college or some shit.
Yeah, it might even be 5 years in the future, but yeah, they tell you how much in the future it is. Steven's obviously taller and gets a new design, but we'll find that out when we hit it after this, pretty much.
Yeah. So as I alluded to, we're looking back at Steven 5. I almost did Steven Universe Season 5 as a whole. Rick, this series was very much contrived? No, made up of several very noticeable arcs.
Yeah. So you had the Solve the Problem arc, which was 4 episodes, where we dealt with the issue that arose at the end of Season 4 of Steven getting kidnapped to Homeworld. The first episode was just on the ship. The second episode was the trial, and then you had an off-color episode where where you meet the off-colors, just being fugitives on Homeworld, and then Lars's head, where Lars fucking dies.
Yeah, Homeworld is very much like Coruscant in that everything that the city proper looks like is very advanced and cool, and then you get to the slums where it's a shithole.
Yeah, the Undercity is just it's a super city built upon the bones of shit that came before.
Yeah, which the off-colors are obviously using to hide. We're going to look at our MVP board for a brief second here before getting into the string of towny episodes that Rick hates. And
yeah, Lars got very rightly quite a lot of MVPs in this segment.
Well, what I was going to say was it actually takes until episode 12 this time around for us to completely fill the board, because next episode we actually start knocking people off, including Blue Diamond, who loses her place for a while.
Yeah, but she comes back.
Oh yeah, well of course she does, because she got a bunch of fucking awards late game. Weirdly enough, later on Yellow Diamond also got knocked off, only to be rejoined for the last episode. But yeah, it's one of those where I won't do the top until the very end of the episode, but let's put it this way: Lars went to a very early lead and he just stuck there throughout the entire series because no one else got more awards than he did, despite the fact he only really showed up in these first 4 episodes.
Yeah, he basically had more character development in these few episodes than almost anyone else in the entire series.
I mean, I think Sadie said it best in the final episode where, look at you're a space pirate.
Yeah, absolutely. Sadie had a little arc, but that was very definitely a little arc compared to Lars becoming a literal space pirate. And also a revenant, by the way, yeah.
It's one of those where, we'll talk about it, because I'm going to do that again, my apologies. The arc that followed immediately after that was, we had Sadie's little arc of dealing with the fact that everyone's just gone, and then spiraling a little bit, and then she made Sadie and the Killers?
Yeah, Sadie Killer and the Suspects.
Oh, that's the one, cool. I knew I had it wrong, but I didn't know how.
Not by much. You were nearly there.
We had an election, because Mayor Dewey had a fucking crisis of, how can I... that episode was weirdly political when we actually did it. All you have to do is go back, guys, because they're all in the playlist. Where we were like, this is not how any political person would ever act. They wouldn't be bothered that they failed their constituencies. They would just be bothered that there's a chance they lose power.
Yeah, because in a lot of these places, you've essentially got a generational, or you've got a sitting mayor or person in power who just is expected to run unopposed. We get it in Mayor Quimby. Yes, okay, it's a character in a show, but they're based on real life. Sometimes a village or town or city doesn't even have another person who is either qualified or has the ambition to be that kind of leader.
Well, to be fair, it's very much an American thing, because in Britain, yes, we have mayors, unless you're the mayor of London or the mayor of Birmingham, and being a mayor doesn't mean dick.
Oh yeah, it means nothing. We have a Lord Mayor of Bradford, and all he is just a guy with a chain and a staff and a car, and that's it.
It's actual wank in this country. It's a position you don't need. But anyway, political lists aside, despite having a string of Towney episodes, we didn't really put many Towneys on our list. I don't count Greg or Connie as Towneys.
Oh no, they're not Towneys. They're main characters.
I know some people online like to just use the term Towney for human characters, which is a bit odd.
Oh yeah, no, that's not what Towney. Towney is basically people who are not in any way involved with the plot. Lars progresses from Towney to plot character.
Well, Towney
basically at the beginning of this season.
Towney is a legitimate saying. Towney is someone who lives in the town, and that's I understand why some people might rope Connie and Greg into that. However, like Towney is also when we use it for Steven Universe, it basically means NPC, as in they're not fucking important.
Yeah, like I say, Sadie is the king of the Towneys, or queen of the Towneys, as it were, in that she's the one that's the most important and stays Towney.
Okay. This is what I've got to say to that, really. It's just like...
Yep.
So,
but yeah, Dewey becomes he becomes like a super NPC who basically doesn't matter anymore and is a lot happier as the guy who runs the Big Donut.
Yeah, but there's a big gap between him he kind of quits as mayor because he bows out the race and then getting ownership of the Big Donut.
Gemcation, Greg and the Gems try to help Steven take his mind off things. I didn't remember this one too well, despite it being a Greg episode, and like Greg gets a lot of decent claims to MVPs just throughout the entire series, and just because we both appreciate Greg as a good dad figure.
Well, it's also because there's a weird division between you and I, Rick, when we give out MVP awards, because again we have very different criteria, and that's fine. That makes for some interesting discussions at the end of episodes, except for that time when you gave it to fucking Dickhead McGee.
Well, when I gave it to Kevin, yeah.
Who?
Didn't I give it to Kevin in that episode?
Oh no, I'm talking about a previous one. I can't remember his name. Onion's dad, not Onion. Sour Cream's dad.
Oh yeah, Yellowtail, yeah.
No, the dickhead one, the one who donated the sperm.
Oh yeah, the one that's actually a dickhead. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot his name. Is it like Stuart or something?
Like Yellowtail is a good dad. When I say dad, I meant in the literal sense, in that he donated some baby batter. And is that not the most disgusting term for it?
Yeah. Oh boy, baby batter.
But yeah, there's some episodes where you'll give an award to Steven, whereas I'll give it to Greg, because you'll be like, Greg was only in the episode for 5 seconds, and I'm like, yeah, but for those 5 seconds he solved the problem.
Yeah. The Gemcation is where they go to this basically shack out in the universe, and they all have a miserable time.
Yeah, so the general, again, I don't want to rehash episode plots because we've got an entire playlist where we gave our live reactions and thoughts to each episode. But yeah, it was one of those where, here's the problem, or rather the characters perceive this as the problem. Turns out that's not the problem, and Greg goes, oh, it's not a gem thing. I can actually solve this. Yeah.
Next is Lapis getting PTSD again and just leaving and assuming that Peridot's going to leave with her.
Well, yeah, this is again. I like to use the term of is it a metaphor if they're smacking you in the face with it?
Yeah. Is it subtext or is it just text?
Don't forget the great J.R.R. Tolkien can be quoted as saying, "Subtext is for pussies."
Yeah.
Well, all right, maybe not a direct quote, but.
Yeah, and Peridot gets in a bit of a funk about this, understandably. And then we get to Sadie Killer. And that's when Sadie, strikes out on her own.
Yeah, I know you were like, these were the cream of the crop, basically, for Towney episodes. I still thought they were a bit shit.
I mean, yeah. You've been less down on Towney episodes in general, and I think that these are the best of a bad lot.
I've not been let down. I liked some of the... In this series in particular, I think having Towney episodes was a bit annoying, and we'll get to the most annoying point of this series.
No, when I said you're less down on Towney episodes, I'm always down on Towney episodes. You're less down on them.
Oh, I thought you said left down, and I thought that was a weird way of saying you're constantly shitting on them. I thought it was one of your charming northern expressions.
No. I'll shit on Townie episodes every day, but these are the ones that I think are actually reasonably okay, because Sadie getting one where she actually progresses her storyline is decent. And then Kevin basically gets a, okay, I'm not a complete asshole all the time episode.
Kind of. I get where you're coming from, but fundamentally in the episode, he was still being a selfish dickhead.
Yeah, he was still a prick. It's just he was useful.
I get
because
you need to...
he gets he sets the stage for Steven to be able to talk to Connie again.
Yeah, and again, this is a point you made during the episode, so you guys need to go back and watch me both get exasperated and annoyed with Rick, because I think my exact words were, yeah, but you didn't need Kevin to be the catalyst. There are writers. You could just have had it have been anything.
I mean, okay, yeah, but they didn't, so...
Yeah, I know, and this was the source of the anger, because that was your only retort, and it was frustrating, because it means we couldn't have a discussion.
Yep. So then they go to space.
Do they?
We see... Yeah, after that, they straight to space. Go to see Lars and the Off-Colors, and then to Jungle Moon.
Yeah, Jungle Moon was an interesting episode.
Yeah, so this is the one where they're basically Stivani for most of the entire episode, and we start to get more insight into Steven having Rose Quartz's memories as Pink Diamond.
Yeah, because it's very easy to forget that Pink Diamond being Rose doesn't get revealed until very late in the game.
Yeah, like it's like 10 episodes before the end, literally. Although it's like not far from this now. There's like 5 or 6 episodes until that happens.
Yeah, sure.
Garnet meets the Off-Colors next and talks about Rose Quartz. The Off-Colors think that Garnet is dissing them when actually she's just legitimately excited to meet them.
Yeah. Once again, we're kind of rehashing literally just what was said during the episodes, which again, in this playlist, you can go back and hear us say this in real time.
Yep. And then there's a couple of extra ones. Letter to Lars. Steven finds Lapis, tries to bring her home, and she almost considers it, and then doubles down on running away.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
And then we get to a single... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say, we then get to a single pale rose, which is the crux of the season, in my opinion, when we get the Pink Diamond reel.
Yeah, very much the best episode of the show, in my opinion.
Yeah. Partly because it deals with inner trauma that Pearl has in an interesting way, and also because, the fallout of it fundamentally changes the way that you view the rest of the show. You already knew it going in because of spoilers. I already knew it going in because of, having seen it before.
Yeah, sure. So when you say going in, you mean going in on the actual podcast rather than going in on watching Steven the first time around?
Yeah, because I started like season 2 when it was new.
Yeah, but it's something I've been constantly referencing since pretty much season 3. They don't really allude to it in season 2, and I obviously can't speak for season 1, but in season 3 onwards, there's lots of little subtle, not even subtle hints, because when you know it, they're obvious and glaring you in the face, and I would point those out.
Mm-hmm. I think season 5 in particular is where Pearl just has a lot of looking to one side moments when she knows something and she can't say it, and from this point on, she's allowed to say it.
Yeah, the string of this is why I say this series is the one you can most clearly cut into arcs. You got the first initial one with Lars, you got a string of Townie episodes which are kind of wank, but they exist. You got a brief interlude where you go back to Lars again, and then you get this, and it kicks off the next arc of each gem, apart from including Pearl. A single Pearl Rose is as much as a Pearl catharsis episode as anything else. Each of the crystal gems reacts, and as we know, Greg gets told off screen, and he just kind of rolls with it because he's not an idiot.
Yeah, I think Greg just goes, yeah, that explains a lot.
Well, it's just like it didn't change anything for Greg.
Oh yeah, because she was still a space queen from nowhere who was a giant woman.
Well, yeah, he didn't know her when she was pink, but when she was pink, she was a lot smaller.
Yeah. Well, not even that much smaller. She was like the same height, just narrower.
Was she? Because I could have sworn in the flashbacks, Pink doesn't look that much taller than Pearl, whereas when she's Rose Quartz, she looks a lot bigger.
She looks a lot bigger because she's like broader and has a lot of hair. Like, I don't think she's actually that much taller.
If you say so. I'm not going to argue with you on it. It's just an observation I made.
Like, she is bigger than Greg, but I think Pearl is also taller than Greg, so...
I don't think she is, but I'd have to see her side by side.
I could be wrong.
We're doing this off memory.
Yeah, we are doing it off memory. But yes, the Amethyst has a cooldown episode where it's Steven's trying to make sure that Amethyst is okay, and she's being like really avoidant about it, but what it really is Amethyst trying to make sure that Steven's okay.
I didn't think that was the case. My memory is Steven wanted to hurry up and find Ruby, and Amethyst kept deliberately slowing it down.
Yeah. And then Ruby turns out to have been talking to Greg this entire time, and it was all right.
Yeah, and then they have a cowboy moment, which leads us to our next arc, which is the Reading arc, because she proposes, of course Sapphire says yes. We get bismuth again. We're kind of doing cliff notes here, because let's be honest, we don't want to just tell you the play-by-play for every single episode. We've done that. That's what this entire Nonstop is about.
Yeah.
So
bismuth coming back is kind of something that we knew was kind of probably going to happen, and from this point on, bismuth is just a normal character in the background now.
Yeah, not that it matters, because, there's not many episodes left. She gets her episode where she shines. By the end of this series is weird in that it has a lot of two-part episodes, which aren't two-parters, in that, like, you got one episode that is part one and one episode that's part two, whereas in a previous series, they just have it be a double episode.
Yeah, like bismuth was like a very definite double episode where it was a double-length episode. The diamonds crash the wedding, Lapis crashes the diamonds, the diamonds get told about Pink Diamond and kind of stop being antagonistic immediately, and the finale is all about getting back to Homeworld and trying to convince White Diamond.
Yeah, the final was... I enjoyed the final, don't get me wrong, and I've watched it again since just because, I wanted to watch it without having to talk to someone, because, that's what the job is. It felt long.
Yeah. It was essentially 4 normal episodes, and you could see certain breaks where obviously there was an ad break, and it left you on a tiny cliffhanger, but when you were watching it all in one go, obviously that cliffhanger is removed.
Yeah, it's one of those where 45 minutes is not a long time, but it's a long time for a Steven Universe episode, and I can now see why they didn't like doing more than double lengthers.
Yeah, because the general thing of Steven Universe being not quite breakneck speed, but the pacing of it being limited to 11 minutes normally it generally works in its favor, because it lets you, have an attention span for that 11 minutes and just cut out all the fat,
Yeah, and because it's been like this since day one, you don't really feel it normally. That being said, you make an excellent point about the ad break usage in the final episode, where it did feel like a part of the story was over, and they were starting a new part of the story with each of those very obvious cuts. Rick, I'm just going to ask you, which diamond would you most want to be with?
Blue.
Reasoning?
Just she needs a hug, and she has a big ass.
Rick, they all need hugs.
Yeah, but Blue needs a massive hug. And also, she's just really cute. Just look at her. How about you?
I mean, assuming it's post-anger issues, probably yellow.
Sure, I can see it. I had impressions of Yellow from earlier on in the show when she just didn't look good. So I'm a bit jaded on that. So Yellow, I don't think is as good looking as Blue. And White's in this weird position where, yeah, she'd be a good pick, but Blue is the one that does it more for me.
Well, Rick, the thing about Yellow is I still kind of think that the way she's drawn, she looks like she has a mustache. I just don't care.
Yes, sure. Yeah, the lips look like a mustache. It's a bit jarring.
Yeah, I think out of, artistically speaking, I think the best drawn one is actually Pink.
Oh, yes. She's the one that most looks like a human-sized character, because she is a human-sized character.
Well, it's not even that. I just mean, her face looks like a normal face. And yes, I know that's ironic, coming from the person who has been noted to say many times he likes weird faces.
Yeah, but by the same token, a cartoon face is still a weird face if you put it on a human being in the real world.
Alright, put Pearl's face on a human.
Yeah. You'd get arrested. They'd think it was some kind of racial stereotype, and they won't be able to point to which one.
Wow, okay. Rick, are you ready to find out the season 5 top of the board?
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty, we've got a weird one. We've got a real weird one. The clear winner is Lars, obviously, with 6. We've already sort of said that. He got 6 votes over 32 episodes, which is of...
He got 6 votes over... He essentially got 6 votes over 4 episodes, and then over the next 20-odd, it just, didn't get changed. Nobody overtook him.
This is, I think, important to note, this is very low for the number 1 spot on our boards.
Yeah, so it kind of speaks to the diversity of the series that we were able to spread out the MVPs so much.
I mean, the
early on, it was it's between Steven and Garnet.
Yeah, very much so. That's important to note, actually. Before we got to the final episode, we got the worst episode of the season. Not because the episode was bad, but because the placement was fucking baffling.
Yeah. Was that the...
It was Return to Watermelon Island,
episode?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Watermelon Island. Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah, it was not expected, it was not wanted, it very much disrupted the pace of things, in my opinion. It didn't need to be be there. But obviously, I don't know. I don't know where else they would have put. They could have put it anywhere else. It would have been better. But weirdly, you picked Lion for that episode. He didn't even show up on the board because the board was already filled with 2s.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's one of the only times I could actually legitimately give it to Lion. So yeah, it went to Lion, because who else is it going to go to? A fucking watermelon? No, Stephen,
because Stephen was the only character in the episode, but you weren't having any of it. But yes, weirdly, we can't have a second and third place because we have 5 people on 5 points. So in joint second place, we have Stephen himself, White Diamond, who showed up in precisely 2 episodes, Blue Diamond, Lapis, and Shocker Garnet.
Yeah. And are we going to talk about the series as a whole in terms of the leaderboard?
Yes, I've got the list in front of me of every single MVP award we've given. So this is a running tally. We'll go from bottom to top. We'll start with the 1 points. We'll do all this in one big group because there's a lot of one and dones. Are you ready?
Let's go.
So in no particular order at this point, these are the 1 point characters. We have Emerald, Kevin, Blue Zircon, Topaz, Buck Dewey, Doug, Connie's dad, Evil Ruby.
Yep.
I wrote down Evil Ruby, but you know the one I mean.
Yeah, Eyeball.
Yeah, Mr. Smiley, Nephrite, Yellowtail, Marty, that would be Sour Cream's sperm donor.
The baby batter dad.
Priyanka, Jamie, aka the mailman, and of course, who can forget the epic cameo that was Uncle Grandpa? Are there any of those that you feel got hard done by and should have had more awards? I'm surprised Priyanka only got 1, but I think she was only in 1 episode where she mattered post season 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Priyanka just didn't show up really. Like, she was basically an obstacle in the background, but like very much in the background, just like wasn't the focus of many episodes.
Like, I don't think
I don't think any of those are hard done by.
I don't think she was even an obstacle in the episode she watched for the Nonstop. I think she was only an obstacle in season 1, which we didn't watch.
Yeah, maybe so.
There's a good chance that we'd have.
Were all fair.
Yeah. I can't see anyone who got hard done by. I think Blue Zircon probably deserved another award, but if I recall correctly, you gave that award to Blue Diamond that episode, so it was a bit hard to argue against.
Yeah.
There's a lot of townies on the 1 point list, which makes me suspect that, given the nature of season 1, I think there probably would be a few more 2s and 3s if we did season 1 on a non-stop, but that's speculation on my part. I didn't watch those.
Yeah, maybe Buck might have got another one, but beyond that, I don't know.
Alright, you ready for the 2s?
Let's go.
This is a much smaller list, but we'll still run through all of them before talking about them. Let's go. We've got Maya Dewey, Aquamarine, Sardonyx, Kiki, Vidalia, Ronaldo, and some fucking how Lion. Both of those Lion awards came from Rick, guys.
Yes. Aquamarine is a good one there to point out because she was basically only in it for like 4 episodes. So getting a couple of awards, I think, is good because like she kind of stole the show, in my opinion, on the episodes where she showed up.
Yeah, she didn't get any awards in season 5. These were all season 4 back-end awards, but it's one of those where she didn't have a chance in season 5 because she was in 1 episode because she fucked off after the transitory episode to the trial, and she wasn't going to get an award in that first episode because Lars had character growth, and for some reason you picked Topaz.
Yeah. So Topaz, I think, was a good character in that episode to bounce off of.
I get you. I still think Lars probably does. Well, I know Lars deserved it more because that was my pick in that episode.
Yeah. Generally, as an arc, Lars deserves it more, but I think, zooming in, I think Topaz was a good insight into not all homeworld gems are arseholes.
But we already kind of knew that. But okay, I get you. I'm not going to try to alter your pick. There's no point in altering it at this point. It's just, I was just arguing that Aquamarine and Lars probably stood out more in that episode, but I'm not going to knock it. It's fine. It's done. Is there anyone else you want to point out from the 2s?
No, I think we're good.
Again, a lot of townies, and our first fusion as well. Sardonyx is on there.
Yeah, basically doesn't show up very often. A lot of fusions don't show up very often, to be honest.
Yeah, they feel like a real, like a flash in the pan, like, oh, look at this, and it's gone.
Yep. To the point that we get 2 of them, or 3 of them even, in the final episode that we've not seen before, or kind of haven't. So Rainbow Quartz as a Steven fusion. We've obviously seen it as a Rose Quartz fusion, but we didn't see it as Steven, and then Sunstone, and then Obsidian. Like, we've seen the Obsidian Temple, but we didn't know that it was Obsidian.
Yeah, I know it was Obsidian, because again, spoilers. Rainbow Quartz 2.0 is also weird in that I've seen that character before, but I've seen that character in a position that they probably shouldn't have been in, considering Steven's involved in it.
Yep.
I'll leave it at that, shall we? You ready for the freeze?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we've got Andy DeMaio, Jasper, Sapphire, Sour Cream, Rose Quartz, and suitably, Ruby.
Okay, yeah. Andy DeMaio is one that I think definitely deserved the MVPs that he got in the episodes that he was in.
Yeah,
He basically never showed up again.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, yeah, we can point out Andy's episodes actually, because he had his double length episode where I gave him both. You split it with him and someone else. I think you split it with either Lapis or Peridot, because that seems up your alley. But I couldn't tell you specifically. He showed up later on when Greg and Stephen needed a ride to another country, and he just flew them there with no questions asked. But he didn't say a word. So
yeah, he was a plot device in that episode at best.
I'm surprised Jasper only got 3.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is that I've said multiple times that your story's only as good as your antagonist, but in a lot of those, it was because someone else was doing something more important, like Lapis having character growth, or Peridot beating her up, or just Steven learning to stand on his own 2 feet, or just generally people doing something against Jasper that made them a better pick. Like we weren't doing the MVPs for the season 1 ones, were we?
We did for the finale of season 1, I think. Maybe? No, maybe we did. I don't remember. Either way, I haven't. If we did, I didn't include them in this tally. So yeah.
So even then, we would definitely have just given it to Garnet anyway.
Yeah, I think that was probably a double Garnet reward.
Yeah, and that's about as Jasper gets, and still she would lose to Garnet. So I can see why she doesn't have that many more.
Fair enough. I just remember she was a big pain in the ass for the early days, but that was a while ago.
Oh yes, yeah. Early days, she was the antagonist.
The opposite of antagonists, protagonists. I don't know how we managed to coincidentally manage it, but we managed to get Sapphire and Ruby the exact same amount of awards. Now I don't know if they were split during 3 episodes, so we just split the difference between us, or if there was, because I definitely remember Sapphire I think Sapphire got an award when Ruby didn't, and vice versa.
Yes. I think Sapphire got one on Hit the Diamond, for instance.
Maybe.
Actually, no. I think both of them got on Hit the Diamond. Sapphire got one in the motel episode where Ruby was like pacing up and down and melted an entire pool.
Like, there's no point in speculating, Rick, because there's a good chance you're wrong.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because to quote your favourite go-to, you've slept since then.
Yes, we both have.
I wasn't guessing, motherfucker. Anyway, are you ready for the 4s?
Yeah, let's go.
This one's nice and easy. Yellow Diamond.
Sure.
So she got 2 awards this season, and I believe the other 2 came from the previous season, because before season 5, whenever she showed up, it was a big fucking deal.
Yes. The one that comes to my mind the most is when she sings the What's the Point of Feeling Blue song, and also, when she's first introduced and Peridot calls her a clod.
Yeah, but we didn't give her an award in that episode.
No, that was a Peridot episode.
Yeah. You ready for the 5s?
Let's go.
Alright, we're going to get less and less now that we're giving out more numbers. We've got Stevonnie and White Diamond on 5.
Sure. It's kind of... I'm not saying it's surprising to see Stevonnie there, but also, like, Stevonnie, whenever they are in an episode, they pretty much are kind of guaranteed it, because unless the episode completely fails, they succeed at something.
I think we begrudgingly gave Stevonnie 2 awards during the drift race with Kevin as well, because nothing really happened in that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stevonnie's a bit surprising, but also not, because I distinctly remember there was a few times where Stevonnie was a big part of the episode, but one or both of us would give it to either Stephen or Connie instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, for those, it would be where Stevonnie was a very small part of the episode, really, because otherwise they would just run away with it.
Yeah, like the 3rd from last episode where she appeared for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that of course I'm not surprised. White Diamond's 5 points came just from this season, and she was in 2 episodes.
Yeah, she's just basically, she is the finale.
Yeah.
Like, she's the final boss, and and needs to be overcome, and just commands every scene that she was in until she was neutralized.
Yeah. Like that,
which is about 2 minutes before the end.
there's not much to say, really. Like, they made Bright Diamond a big and impressive villain, and every time she was on screen, she commanded the audience. Or at least the audience of us.
Yes.
You ready for the sixes?
Let's go.
Alrighty. Weirdly, we also managed to get these two on the exact same amount, Rick. Lars and Sadie, and also on 6 was Blue Diamond.
Okay. I'm surprised that Sadie is this high to a degree, but also it's kind of cute that she's on the same as Lars.
Well, here's the thing. Sadie got at least one episode a season.
Yeah, and she deserved those in those seasons, whereas Lars only got them in the final season.
Well, you say that, but
he got one. He got one, didn't he? That that episode where Stephen was Lars, wasn't he?
No, because it wasn't. We both agreed it wasn't Lars. It was Stephen.
Yeah, fair enough.
All of Lars's points came from this season. Half of Sadie's points came from this season.
Okay.
So this is what I'm saying. Even with episodes where she was the focus, like saying that, Blue Diamond got the same amount of points as White Diamond did this season. She got 5, which is most of her points.
Yeah.
You ready for the 7s?
Let's go.
Somehow Bismuth.
Yeah. Well, being the focus of a two-parter was kind of a big deal.
True, that got her 4. She got 2 when she showed up in this season for that episode, and you gave her 1 in the finale.
Yeah. I think she was the most important of the Crystal Temps in terms of, having them all there for the finale.
I don't know about that, but I'm not going to argue it.
Sure.
You ready for the 11s?
Let's go.
It's Connie.
Yeah. So, she doesn't show up as much as maybe she could have done in season 5. I guess it's kind of the same for a lot of the series. She maybe would have gotten more if she'd have been around more and been allowed to be around more.
Well, there's 2 things going on here, isn't there? Because first of all, we didn't do season 1, which was 52 episodes long, and I'm sure there's a lot of episodes that focus on her actually becoming friends with Stephen. She would undoubtedly have gotten more awards back then.
Yes.
And 2...
Yeah, just no question about that.
And 2, the first part of season 5, she couldn't be a part of it because 1... Stephen fucked off to space, and 2, she was mad with Stephen the moment he came back.
Yeah, and that was kind of like the second conflict in the season.
Are you ready for the 13s?
Let's go.
We did not plan this because there's absolutely no way we possibly could have done. We've got both Pearl and Amethyst on 13.
Okay. I think they both deserve. Well, I wouldn't say deserve, but they both merit being higher than Connie. So it's good that they both are.
Yeah, like they're tertiary protagonists. They should be near the top, and near the top they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once again, with these early game characters, as it were, I imagine this number would be a lot higher if we did season 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, totally.
You ready for the 14s?
14s.
Both Lapis and Greg.
Okay. I would say that it's a shame that Lapis has overtaken Pearl and Amethyst in terms of Pearl and Amethyst are a bigger part of Stephen's life. However, it's good that Greg is there because he kind of is more of a part of Stephen's life than any one of the crystal gems.
Well, I don't know. From what we've seen on screen, like, the crystal gems are essentially a surrogate for Stephen's mother, so I don't think putting Greg on a pedestal above them is correct.
Yeah, well, it's one of those where I don't think he's been allowed to be a part of Stephen's life as much as he would like to be until, like, recently and, like, within the events of the show that we've seen.
I mean, that's going to have to be conjecture on your part, which, granted, you've got more background knowledge having watched all of season 1, whereas I haven't, so I can't fight that one way or the other.
Sure.
That being said, yeah, we both agree that the reason why Lapis is so fucking high up is because we didn't do season 1. She shows up in 2 episodes in season 1.
Yes. A back-to-back pair of episodes in season 1. Similarly, Peridot is in, like, 2 episodes plus the finale.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what we did in season 1. We did the opening, the Lapis episodes, the Peridot episodes, and the finale. And that's what we did for review, as you will be able to see.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe after we've done Future, we'll go, fuck it, we're going to spend the next year watching season 1 after watching season 2 to 5. Could you imagine?
Going back to season 1 with everything we know and going, oh man, remember when Stephen wasn't being such a little bitch? Oh.
Wow, okay. I probably wouldn't be that harsh about it, but sure. Rick, are you ready for the top 3?
Yeah, let's go.
Alright, getting our bronze award for overall MVPs. Drum roll, please. Wasn't expecting an actual drum roll, but fair enough. Thank you, Rick. It's sitting at 18 points is Peridot.
Yeah. I think she had actually the most growth. Even though she didn't end at the highest point compared to other characters that did have growth, she started at a lower low. So I'd say she had a more growth overall.
Yeah, I kind of figured. I kind of get you. It's one of those where it's weird seeing Peridot and Lapis on the board. Like, even Bismuth being as high up as she is. Because we both know for a fact that because we skipped season 1, these numbers aren't actually reflective.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's no way Peridot is going to be above both. Well, never say never. I highly doubt Peridot is above both Pearl and Amethyst if we did include season 1.
Yeah. Like, season 1 has a lot. I think it's got enough more gem things that the main 3 crystal gems would just have more points. It might just be another runaway for Garnet again, though.
Maybe it's one of those. Not quite a runaway, because again, from the way you say it, there's a lot more towny episodes because they don't really focus on the space shit.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, you ready for number 2?
Yeah, let's go.
It shouldn't come as much as a surprise, Rick, but our silver award goes to Garnet.
Yeah, so it was always going to be a big old battle between number 2 and number 1. And I think I even said around season 3, this was when Steven starts to come into his own.
Well, it's one of those where Garnet sits on 22 points overall, 22 MVP awards from us, which 11 or 12 of those came from season 2.
Yes, yeah. This was back when Garnet was having to carry, basically carry the entire party, and she was doing so very well. And it's only when Steven starts to come into his own that the others can kind of come out from Garnet's shadow in terms of being helpful.
Although, that being said, if you want to be a real prick about things, she is kind of arguably sitting on 28.
Oh yeah, if you include Ruby and Sapphire, she's much higher, but we count fusions as separate to the constituent parts.
Yeah, we made a point of, well, we wouldn't have bothered giving awards to both Ruby and Sapphire individually if we wanted to count them as Garnet.
Yeah. Similarly, Stivoni's numbers could count towards Steven's, but they don't, and if they did, then he still wouldn't win.
You know, I feel like it's weird because Steven is in every single episode. I feel like it wouldn't be cheating to add Ruby and Sapphire to Garnet, but it would be to add Stivoni to Steven.
Yup. Well, either that or you'd have to add all the Stevens to just Stivoni.
Oh, jeez, that would be awful. Well, yeah, that would not be great, would it? Oh, no, Stivoni would be the runaway winner if you took both Steven and Connie and combined them to Stivoni.
Yeah, Stivoni universe.
I mean, you know, oh boy. But yeah, like, Garnet was no slouch in these future seasons. Like, yeah, she started with half her points from season 2, but she got another 5 in season 5, so she kind of floundered a bit as far as MVP went for 3 and 4, but yeah.
Well, I put in a good show in season 5, yeah.
Yeah, like, this top 3 of our leaderboard basically makes up at least half of our MVP awards given.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of, it shouldn't be a surprise, we've been putting it off a little bit, but coming in with our gold award is Steven Universe himself at 26 MVP awards. So it wasn't a runaway with it, you know, it was very close between these top... Well, then again, there's 4 points separating 4th place from 3rd, from 2nd, from 1st, so, you know.
Yeah, totally. If Steven wasn't number 1, then they'd probably have written the show wrong, so it's good that he gets this recognition specifically from us.
I disagree in them writing the show wrong because, again, I give my MVPs in a different way that you do. You know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, because of how you yourself have said Steven is kind of useless in the first season, which is a whole 52 episodes, that's 104 awards.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, I'm sure...
Well, he also would fall into this episode wouldn't happen without Steven bracket.
Yeah, but that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Even if he did that for every single... If you did that for every single episode and gave him 52 points, yeah, sure. But we know that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, like the episode that's just Steven and the Stevens, and he forms a band of himself and clones of himself.
See, I'd give it to someone other than Steven out of spite.
Yeah.
I've done that in this show, Rick. You've done that in this show.
Yeah. Give it to Amethyst because she thought it was funny and she stayed with it all the time, yeah.
Like, I distinctly remember, like, I gave the award to Uncle Grandpa, and you were like, I'm not giving the fucking award to Uncle Grandpa, so I'm giving it to blah blah instead.
Yep. Uncle Grandpa is quite happily sitting at the in the 1 tier, but because he was the first to get on the board in the 1 tier, he's the top of the 1 tier.
Is that how I did it? I don't know how. I think I read it. It was the opposite actually, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I didn't really order the individual tiers. Like I just went I didn't write out the full list until we were about a quarter of the way through season 5. I had to go back through every single infographic I made and add everyone one by one, and then in season 5, if people moved up, I cut and pasted them to the top of that number.
Sure, okay, fair enough. Yeah, because when you're going from bottom to top, like going from like 1s to 2s to 3s and all that, that's what I would say is like going from the back. So the last one that you say in a tier, that's what I would class as the top of the tier. Which, okay, maybe it's my fault for thinking that.
I did say when I read out the ones, this is in no order.
Yeah.
So to be fair, that's entirely on you.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah,
Stephen being number 1, deserved from what we've seen.
Yeah, that's 5 episodes. That's 5 seasons of Steven Universe MVP awards, guys. Like the whole back half of this non-stop retrospective, as we like to call it off air, is pretty much dominated with us going through that. So yeah, Peridot, Garnet, and Steven are our top 3. Like that's just how the numbers work. We are just going to briefly talk about something, and that is we're doing Steven Universe the movie next, Rick.
Yes, the movie comes next, which is essentially the beginning of Steven Universe Future, which we're also going to do.
Yeah, we're going to do Future. I've already set up everything so that we can actually watch it. What we're going to do, because I imagine the MVPs are going to be wacky for the movie, we're going to give the movie our MVPs, but we're not going to put them on an MVP board.
Sure, so we're not going to count them towards the future
tally, board. No. Because I know of the existence of a character, Rick, so could you imagine if for the... I know they exist, I don't know their gimmick. I've seen their design and they look kind of cool. So for Steven Universe the movie, I pick Steg and you pick Spinell, and then they never show up again in Future.
I know Spinell shows up again, but it's kind of disappointing.
Well, thanks, Rick. That motivates me. But yeah, as I said, we're coming to the end of, Steven Universe is done. We're moving on to the movie, and then Future. Once Future's done, we're going to have to find a new show to fucking watch on Nonstop. So, we don't normally do this on the Nonstop, Rick, but if you've got suggestions, if you've even made it this far, which, by the way, if you are, kudos, we love you, please send us an email at
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
with suggestions for the Nonstop after Steven Universe Future. Preferably, we want to do things that have short episodes, like Steven Universe length, maybe 15 minutes apiece. But, we could stretch that to 22 minutes. It just means we'd have to record more frequently.
Man, just imagine having to do all the Simpsons.
I mean, there's a podcast that already does that. That can fuck off.
Yep.
No, we're not doing... keep it within the realms of reality. If you pick something that has 10 seasons, we're probably not going to opt to do it, unless it's Adventure Time.
Yeah. Which we've done a few of already.
Yeah, we have. Some of those are out, so we can say that.
Yeah. And some of them, watch this space.
Yeah, maybe we won't do Adventure Time. Maybe we'll do like the Fiona and Cake series, because that's 10 episodes and doable.
Yeah. And I've seen them all, so it'll be the same idea of I've seen this, and I've got the insight into how things are going to go.
But yes, that's a question to be asked in about half a year probably. So we'll see you then, guys.
Bye, everybody.